Hey everyone, and welcome to Comics from the Multiverse, the DC Comics podcast from Mailfuzz TV. I am Peter, and returning after a 1 week absence, although he missed the 5th week, Matt's here.
I'm back.
And Connor is also here. Actually, do you know what you missed last week, Matt? You missed Bonus Red Hood.
Yeah, that's okay. I also missed Green Arrow Year One, which is one of my favorite stories. Yeah,
that's
so,
true. You also missed
Shock Art,
the Supergirl
Diggle.
annual, which was really annoying because it was just me that read it. Have you read the annual yet?
Oh yeah. I read all my books last week. Well, all two of them.
Oh, yeah, all two of them. Yeah.
So yeah, so I wasn't here doesn't mean I didn't read.
Well, no, I was curious as what you thought of the Supergirl annual.
It's a lot of Legion stuff, although stuff's not lining up. So I wonder if they're just holding stuff back from
Possibly
because of Doomsday Clock. Because when I talked to, and this will be a name drop, the artist, what's his name, Fabak, he had said that he had a different opening entirely for the button, and John said he wanted to save that for something else. So it kind of makes me wonder if they've changed plans, kind of mid-stream, for with Emerald Empress.
Maybe not change plans. Maybe it's just that John's always had something in his head, and then other writers had ideas. And
yeah, well, not change plans, shifted plans, I should say, because the plans are still there. But like to go from Emerald Empress saying that it was Saturn Girl that wrecked things to being the Supergirl, like
yes, well,
it rings a little hollow to me.
They kind of write that off though as her being like it's her own delusion that's kind of like leading her down this alternate path.
Right. But I feel like it could have that's just two subtle changes in the script.
Yeah.
They can shift it again, a shift, not a change. But either way, I enjoyed it. I mean, you had gigantic.
You had Grundy picking up a road to shield himself from Supergirl, so fun was had.
And Indigo playing some kind of new superhero, like that was strange.
Although I cut Connor off before he said hi. Connor, do you want to say hi to people?
Oh, it's all right. You ramble along.
Oh well, let's see.
I can't help it. I like Supergirl. She's part of the Kryptonian family. I feel we're related. I got lots to say.
Wait, so you see yourself as Kryptonian, Matt? just for clarification.
Look at my room. I just can't process yellow sun because I have an allergy.
Okay. I was going to try throwing a car at you to see if you survived, but yeah, that's fine.
I probably would survive, but once I get out of the hospital, I'm going to be really angry.
Yeah, so we talk about DC Comics. Usually the tangent at the start's not about comics. Somehow we actually tangented about DC Comics before I told you what's coming up in this week's show. So what are we talking about today? We're talking about Batman number 30, we're talking about Superman number 30, we're talking about Green Lanterns number 30, we're talking about Green Arrow number 30, and then just to sort of break the little trend there, we get Nightwing 28 and Deathstroke number 23, and that is it. Six books. Typically,
you say breaking a trend. Half of the books are Green Lantern related this week.
Mm-hmm.
I was talking purely about the numbers, but you are somewhat correct in that.
Well, half, more like a third.
No, 3 out of 6.
What's the third one?
Oh, duh.
Superman, Green Arrow, Green Lanterns.
Lanterns related, not Green Lanterns related.
Yeah.
Very good.
There you go.
Yeah, okay. But yeah, so that's what's coming up this week. Now, typically Connor will tackle his Red Hood commitment from Patreon on a week one. However, he tells me that will not be happening on this particular month.
I didn't get time to get to it.
Yeah. So, next week, week after?
At some point when I have a quieter week enough to have time to read it, it'll be one of the weeks. It'll come. It's just don't know which one yet.
Okay.
I can't say that I blame him because I would have done the same.
Well, he did one last week, so maybe...
I really didn't want to do one 2 weeks in a row.
The thought of sitting down with another one after just doing it... And it was a bigger issue last week as well. It was an annual. Connor, I'll ask you first. How was your week this week?
How was my week? Do you know what? I can't really remember it, which is probably a mixed sign. It can't have been awful, but it can't have been particularly great either.
Boring week then, okay. So... Typical standards, yeah. Okay, Matt, you got a more interesting answer for the question?
I mean, my brother was in town, and I took him to the shop with me, and I just slapped Red Hood and the Outlaws out of his hand. So that was good. I said, no brother of mine's gonna put up with that. But yeah, we're just a super busy week at work and struggled to fit in my comics, however few they were this week. But, that's what happens when you're left in charge.
It's a scary thought.
Responsibilities, man.
It's running like a finely tuned machine that sometimes has a loud thud, but you're just like, don't worry about it. It'll work itself out.
I'm picturing Matt. Obviously right now we've got a hurricane heading for Florida, and evacuations are happening, all that. I'm just picturing Matt in charge at work, looking like there's a hurricane around him, and he's just sitting there. That dog in the fire. Yeah, the Emmy John Lane. This is fine. Just Matt sitting
fine.
there.
Yeah.
Sure, the building might be toppling over, but I'm okay.
You have no idea what that was like yesterday, because we had a slight rainstorm, and as you know, you can't let students out in the rain because you can't trust them. It's like letting dogs out to the rain; they're just going to get soaking wet. So, a bunch of screaming preteens trapped in a cafeteria.
This baffles me. Not allowed out in the rain.
Yeah, because again, it's not that they're going to get hurt; it's the fact that they're going to get sopping wet and still have to continue through the day. Yeah.
I can't comprehend.
This is what happens when you live in the desert and you're used to it being dry 99%.
This is it.
What is this? What is this water coming from the sky and like?
This is it. I grew up in England. It's wet. You go out in the rain. You get wet. That's it.
I live in a desert and it's the complete opposite.
Yeah, sounds like hell.
If you step foot out here, Connor, you'd burn like kindling.
Yeah, probably. Sounds like hell.
He'd be the Human Torch.
But without the cool thing, where you can turn it off.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, or with the style, or the attitude, or any appeal whatsoever, really.
Mm-hmm. Very good.
All right,
More of the ginger thing. Kind of grotesque. We know there's a heart of gold somewhere in there, but
God. I'm disappointed they picked Irma for the hurricane, because I feel like I want them to pick a name for a hurricane where I know someone with that name so I can crack some jokes. And
well, last year was Hurricane Matthew, and let me tell you, my wife made that one like it was, like she was getting paid to say it. The one hurricane I went through back in '96, and I was on a cruise with my dad, was Hurricane Bertha, which was a name he used to tease my mom with, and they had just got divorced, so he felt that was her retribution, going. Yeah.
Bertha's coming for you. It's just revenge.
Yep.
Oh dear. Let's talk about comics then, shall we? Got into that kind of thing. We have 6 books to discuss. We'll start off with, as we typically do, if there's no headlining event book or anything like that, Batman number 30 by Tom King and Clayman.
You say no headlining event, but within the last 4 or 5 issues this has been running, I mean...
Oh, sure.
It's been pretty... Like, I was very skeptical at first, but the longer I read this, the more I enjoy it. So, like, I would say fair enough it's a headlining event. The War of Jokes and Riddles, that is.
Well, that's fair, but if it wasn't, we'd still be doing Batman first, so I think that was my point.
True.
More than anything
I'm just
else.
saying, I just want to give it a title. And for me to give Batman a title like that, it's... Tom King's doing something right.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah.
He's king of the hill.
Yeah. King of the castle.
I have a chair. Car's just disappointed that I made a pun based on his name. I get this all the time. The amount of shit I get when we talk about TV and I make a little pun about someone.
But this is the thing, you do it too many times. If this was the only one in a vacuum, like the only one Matt has to experience, it's amusing. When you do puns like, 3-4 times a week, it's like, okay, I'm done with them now.
But that's the point, they're terrible. You're supposed to love them. It's a running joke. It's fun.
In small doses.
In small. Okay, Connor's been a buzzkill. We're talking about Batman. Let's talk about proper things.
Sad trombone.
Connor, you're the kite man of this podcast. I want you to know that.
Hell yeah.
So
He is.
He is, isn't he?
I'll take it.
It even looks like he's wearing green today.
It kind of is an olive green.
I mean, I like Joker more, but I think I'm more the Riddler and Matt's more the Joker because he's unpredictable, and then Connor's just Kite Man in the middle.
Am I unpredictable?
Well, you
I
got
feel
rage.
like you could set a clock to.
That's true. You got rage outbursts though.
Yeah.
But they're predictable.
Yeah,
It's like when you prod him about like Batman v Superman.
That's
You-
not.
you-
I did that last
you-
night. I was subjected to a Justice League trailer on the big screen last night, and I had my family lean over at the theater like this to me to watch my reaction to the trailer.
It's when people say this looks really good, and I'm like, deep breaths.
But yeah, I mean, in the Mild Fuzz Facebook group, I've become somewhat of a self-parody. Anytime someone mentions Jessica Chastain, I have to chime in. Anytime someone mentions Bears, I have to chime in. This is my life now.
Also, what's her face from Game of Thrones? You like?
Yeah, that's past though.
Is that past? I still have
that's
photographic
past.
evidence of your obsession
Yes, you do. Yes, you
with
do.
what's her face, Sophie Turner.
Sophie Turner. Is this all just because she went blonde, Matt?
Partially.
So predictable.
Again.
Yeah.
What about Chastain's been blonde at several occasions?
Yeah, but she's naturally redhead. It's fine. It's fine.
Isn't
I think.
Sophie Turner naturally
It's fine.
redhead?
No.
No, look natural enough, but okay. Fair. I'll take it. You're clearly the one who's done the research into this, so I'm
He's
not going to
clued in
argue.
on
Duh. Duh.
Oh dear. Anyway, Kite Man. We're going to talk about Batman, but Kite Man specifically this issue. So this was the second of the two Kite Man issues of War Jokes and Riddles, and much like, I mean, it wasn't maybe as hard hitting as the last one, but it still had some hard hitting elements, especially towards the end. The narration wasn't exactly cheery. It was him remembering this conversation with his son, who was killed in the last issue that he had focused on him. And it's him trying to sort of explain to his son why his mother called him a joke, and explain that he's maybe not a joke, or maybe he is a joke. And, because ultimately his son keeps asking, and he eventually's like, yeah, okay, I'm a joke, but we're all kind of jokes. You have to laugh with them, or because if you don't, then you're just being laughed at.
And you're not part of it. And
so
it parallels what he goes through this, because throughout the issue, we see that Batman has picked a side.
Look at him going straight there. He wants the credit. He wants to rub it in, so he's going straight there.
But you see how slowly Riddler's forces have overtaken Joker, to the point that it's really only Joker and Kite Man left. And it's kind of the reason that Kite Man is allowed to keep going is because he is a joke. Like no one can take him seriously. He's just a dude with a kite. And compared to the last issue where you saw him getting motivated to join this because Riddler had poisoned that kite strain of his son's. And he kind of, it's not necessarily an arc, but you think that he's going to have this almost heroic display, and it turns out no, he's still just Kite Man.
He's still just Kite Man. Yeah, as you were getting at though, Batman did pick a side, and it's introduced in a pretty fun way with a joke, where they're talking about, because it's Kite Man and is it Tweedledum? Yeah.
Yep.
And they're talking about, oh, we're worried about this next fight with Riddler's army, and Kite Man says, oh, yeah, but like no one hits harder than Batman. Who could Riddler have that hits as hard as Batman? Turn the page, and Batman's got a Riddler symbol on his arm, and he's punching him in the face.
Kind of uncomfortable with Batman with the armband on, like.
No, I get what you're saying.
Yeah,
at least
going
it's
beyond
green.
that. Yeah.
It was green, and it's a big question mark on it. If anything, it's what you'd wear if you're like the confused party.
Can we just take a moment to go back to that first page and notice all the penguins with cameras on their heads?
Penguins with cameras on their heads. Yeah, that's
It's straight from Tim Burton.
It is, but I love it.
Yeah.
I just don't want that to be overlooked.
Well,
I feel
also
like we're going to get into Kite Man, we're going to get into Batman, and I want to mention the penguins.
Well, it's also like what's Penguin up to, because we saw him early into this where Joker basically said, "You're on my side," So, but yeah, we haven't seen him like we've seen some of the others.
He's supplying security, clearly.
Yeah, that's what I was going to get to.
Yeah. So obviously, Kite Man informs Joker that Batman has picked Riddler's side, and then from there we basically get this series of scenes of different villains either explaining that they fought Batman as part of this war or finding out. In fact, the funniest is probably Mr. Freeze, who's with Kite Man. He's like, "Oh, you worry too much, my kited friend," and then the Batarang like sort of cracks the front of his helmet.
I have this down to a science.
Yeah, and he's like, "Oh, well, okay, we're losing." That's basically his response when he sees the Batarang.
It's good. It's
That
good.
was really funny. I really like the page with the ventriloquist. There's just the blooming sort of blue kind of light of the water splashing on them. So it's a really pretty page.
Yeah, it is.
And it's also, it ties back into the second arc in Suicide, because we've seen Wesker without Scarface. So it's like, has he been without him this whole time? Is King planning a story now with Ventriloquist?
Yeah, maybe he's planting seeds.
I'd be down for it. I think King could do it justice.
Yeah, we also have a really interesting scene with Two-Face, actually, which I actually like more from just sort of like subtly exploring the effects of Batman getting involved. The idea that Batman's condition for signing up to help Riddler is that no one on his side can kill anymore. And you have Two-Face arguing with himself, as you know, Two-Face is known to do, about how that he's not supposed to be killing anyone now because Batman's on their side. And I thought that was an interesting dynamic, because it makes sense. Of course, Batman would say, like, okay, like, I'm joining up, we're going to win this, but ain't no killing. You know,
yeah, I also like that you never see Two-Face. He's off screen or off panel.
Yeah,
the whole time.
I think there's one wide shot and he's in silhouette, but you never see like detail on him or anything like that.
And the way they handle that too is like one is talking on the top panel, and then in the reflection, because they're on top of this bridge, it looks like they're in a park, and then the other one, I think it's Two-Face, answers Harvey about it, and it's just really well done.
Yeah. And I like it goes to Cluemaster and Kite Man, like, because at this point, so basically the idea is that all these villains have been taken out by Batman as he goes along, and it's him and Cluemaster's like, right, okay, well, Batman, this is a good development, because if we try to leave Joker, he'd kill us. If we try to go back to Riddler, he'd kill us for not picking him in the first place. So now Batman can just win, and we can sneak away, and everything's okay. That's the plan.
It's good logic.
It's good logic. Then he has an encounter with Scarecrow, which has some fun. And that's, I actually love the page after that when he's just lying, playing dead almost on like the side of the road at the bridge, and it's just like this like series of all these wide panels of him like trying to stand up, and he's like grabbing onto the fence, trying to like prop himself back up, because you can actually tell that it's getting harder and harder for him to stand back up. He keeps getting beat down. And he keeps struggling to get back up.
I think the art's so strong that when he's walking away at the end, you can kind of tell he's doing that like shuffling limp.
I'm over it. This is it. I feel like we're going to be getting a turn out of Kite Man where, even if it wasn't intended, I feel like King's gotten a love of this character, and I can kind of see him showing up in a supporting role, kind of like Dini did with Riddler as the type of detective.
Honestly, I can see it going even further, and at least in the sense of it won't just be that he flirts with being a hero. I could actually see him becoming a full-on like force for good. I could see that being like a development.
He is clearly the successor to the Cowl.
I don't mean like that. I just mean like when Bendis was writing Daredevil, we would get checked in with the guy that would make the costumes. I forget what his hero or his villain name was. He's like that Roman guy.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, he makes the stills.
Yeah, but we would check in with him, and Daredevil helped him with his daughter and stuff. And I just feel that's what type of tone I'm getting from Kite Man here is why build him like this? We have these two issues of the Ballad of Kite Man, just to not do anything with him.
Yeah, I can see more being done with him. I can see him becoming more of a sort of ally who
he's too tragic and almost pathetic to be a proper villain, isn't he?
Yeah, and I can almost see that being the point of like, okay, I'm going to fight on the other side because maybe I can do some good. It's like, because I can almost see the argument, because if Batman ever just talks to him about it, it's like, look, your son was killed by a criminal. Like, use that rage, use that passion, and do something good with it. Like, I can see the discussion happening in my head.
Yeah, clearly he's good at making kites, right? Or else Joker wouldn't have gone to him.
What a weird thing to say about someone. Clearly he's good at making kites.
So he has one thing he's really good at, so it shows that he has focus. And that's also the through line here is his son's like, I could never get the kite to fly.
Do you reckon he could design Batman a really cool new cape?
Or something.
Well, we see Kite Man flying in this with just like a single like cape
Right.
glider.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Like we know Batman's capes. You know, it's like whatever. But like, could it be cooler? Could it be better if Kite Man got a hold of it? It was like, right, I can make you fly for longer, or you know, whatever.
He wouldn't need to use those grapples anymore. He would just float around on air currents.
I feel like we need someone who actually understands physics to chime in here and say why
just
this
tell
is
us
bollocks.
that we're wrong. Yeah.
Comes from the multiverse, masters of science.
Yeah. Now, of course, you have that thing where Joker's talking about how successful they all are, and then it cuts to just Kite Man on his own, sitting in this auditorium with no one else there. And then I love the fight after this, because Batman's fighting Kite Man, and he's just saying, like, please stay down. Like, he's stay down, please. Like, it's actually a really powerful kind of little fight. And that's kind of what finally brings Kite Man in. He's finally, brought in himself. And he's in this interrogation room. We end a little story with the kid where, you have to laugh with them and all the rest of it. And I actually think this scene at the end, where Batman's there, but it's actually Riddler comes in, and Riddler comes in to interrogate him, and he's like, alright, so you're going to be... you're going to be willing to help us and tell us where Joker is. You're basically going to flip and be an informant. And I think the most powerful panel of the entire book. Like, so Batman's behind Riddler over the shoulder. You don't see him in every panel. You see him in the centre panels. And the first one is just over the shoulder. He's like in complete sort of shadow silhouette. You can see a little bit of detail in the head, but he's just this presence behind him. The one in the middle of the page, where Riddler says, "Even after I killed your boy, you'd still squeal." I love that panel, because Riddler's, again, all in shadow, but you see the smile. But behind him, you see Batman. And I love that, because for Batman's character, it kind of shows how hard this is. That he's just heard Riddler say, yeah, I just killed your son, and quite recently, and Batman's working with him.
I think it's really notable that on that bit of Batman, you see less of him, because he looks further away than in the top centre panel, but the eyes are lit up here. Like, you can feel him staring at Riddler.
Yeah, well, it's Riddler's like pride that's coming before the fall.
Yeah, and that's also the panel where Riddler looks most like Joker, with the hat and the grin. It's very Killing Joke sort of image, isn't it?
And you feel the discomfort from Batman in this scene. Doesn't say a word, but you feel it.
No, because it looks like he's pulling away a little bit. Like,
yeah.
But yeah, and this whole thing with Joker was like anarchy, and Riddler was fascism. It's it's order versus chaos, and right now order's won. But that's the thing with chaos; it's never truly solved. So, and that's what makes a joke versus a riddle, is that the joke's unexpected. Yeah. So, just playing more into that whole theme that we talked about the last issue.
Yeah, we actually end this Kite Man issue with the same words. It ends with Kite Man, hell yeah. But in this case, it's Riddler basically saying, you're pathetic, you're this, you're that, and Kite Man chimes in with Kite Man, and then Riddler sarcastically says, hell yeah. So, it's kind of poignant, it's like poetry, it rhymes, to quote the infamous George Lucas when making the Star Wars prequels.
Yippee?
No, it's like poetry, it rhymes. So that's a famous quote from him during the Star Wars prequels.
Okay. I try to forget all of that. But it also, so I've always thought of Riddler kind of as this, he's only kind of a villain because he has this mania, like he has to commit crimes and leave clues. This has totally rewritten that for me. So that there's no way, like, this guy can ever be saved. He's that far gone. Whereas you have like Ivy and Two-Face, or they might work on the side of the Angels.
It's funny that you did mention that Dini stuff with Riddler as the detective, where he was kind of noble. He was kind of in the same way that the Sirens were kind of reformed. They weren't necessarily heroes, but they were all right. And Riddler was kind of like that for a good while.
Yeah. Yeah. But no, here it seems very much that in Rebirth we're setting up now Riddler is this version of the character. He is irredeemable.
Yeah, which he needed, because there hasn't been that very many like standout Riddler issues or even stories.
Yes, been a while, certainly.
Yeah, so that's good. And I don't necessarily think Joker's. I hate myself for this. Had the last laugh, right? Or Joker has the last laugh because Riddler's right there.
Don't feel bad for that, Matt.
Yeah.
Cherish it. Be proud of it.
No, that's all right. I feel Connor staring daggers at me.
No, it's all right. Matt doesn't do it often enough. He gets to do one every so often.
Because I just feel like that Joker's not going down without Batman.
That's it. He's down to just Joker, but you still get the feeling it's like, all right, what's he got left? What's his one last hurrah?
He's a cornered animal, right?
Yeah.
And I feel that's exactly where he wanted to be. Because Joker, we all know Joker doesn't play well with others.
I'm really fascinated as where this is going now, because we're down to just Joker, but we have 2 issues of the main story left.
Yeah.
So I'm really fascinated to see where we're going with these last 2 issues, and how does this war end, and what effect does it have? What is the? I mean, you already get that Batman feels guilty for even working with Riddler up until this point, but what is the final big thing that he's really ashamed about? That the reason why he's been telling this story to Selina through this arc. I'm really curious about it. So, but no, so not surprisingly, another good Batman issue from King. Alright, that'll take us on to Superman number 30, Keith Champagne writing again, with Ed Beans, Philip Tan, and I think Tyler Kirkham as well, all on art.
Yeah. So, jumping ahead, that's probably my biggest issue with this issue, was the art's kind of all over the place because of the 3 different artists. And it was one issue, so I don't quite get it, but that didn't make me enjoy it any less, because I enjoyed the story for what it was.
I thought it was okay. I didn't like it as much as the last issue, because the last issue for me had a lot more intrigue and story to it, because it was all these kids going missing and what is causing it.
Yeah.
There was
It had more style.
Yeah.
This is much more of a superhero story.
Ultimately, I liked it, but I didn't like it necessarily as an issue of Superman. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it feels like a backdoor issue at Green Lantern Corps more than it does a Superman issue.
Yeah.
Which again, if this came from the mind of Tomasi, and he just had Champagne write it, it makes sense. Like, he probably just misses writing the core sometimes. Yeah. This is how it works its way out.
Just because I think the last issue, I think that I'd sum it up with one word. I'd sum it up. Last issue had atmosphere, whereas this one I don't think has atmosphere. It's just kind of Sinestro's here for Parallax. He ends up taking Superman to Quard and has him all tied up with lantern energy and stuff. I was just trying to think of the right way to phrase that. But we end up having a fight with Parallax. Superman sees his worst fears, through Parallax and through the yellow rings. And we see a lot of interesting things, like, Lois seems to have cancer, and all these other things. John goes evil. That's his biggest fear, that John's going to go nuts and be evil. And I wonder if that's maybe a seed for something we're going to explore down the line. Not that I think John will go evil necessarily, but just
no. I mean that's any parent's worst fear of their kid, is they become something that you didn't raise them to be.
Yeah. So, think of Connor's poor parents.
Fair enough. I got nothing back at that one.
Low-hanging fruit. Yeah. But the ones that struck me more is that Superman failing to save people, because to me that's the crux of his character.
Oh, sure, yeah. I mean that's because all these other ones are relatively baseless, whereas him failing to save people is something he regularly probably has to put up with.
Yeah, and that's that's his biggest weakness, is he cares too much, and that's what I liked in Morrison's action, where he didn't go and become a reporter initially. He was a firefighter. So he was basically doing what he would do otherwise, just as his job. So I like that that's his undercurrent, and that's what he's thinking about, and then eventually gets to his family stuff.
I think it says a lot about him that the not saving people in general is actually what comes first before any of the family stuff. Like it's a more present fear, and even though he is, of course, he's worried about his family because obviously. But it just
like
shows
the Lois with cancer it's just like his dad's heart attack. He can't do anything about it.
It's mortality, but you can't. Yeah. The people he loves are going to get sick and die at some point.
Right.
Yeah. If not something else. So it makes a lot of sense. I think that's just fine. But ultimately, it was a lot of Parallax fighting and Sinestro bantering with them and all that kind of thing. And so I was basically just.
That's it. I like that stuff well enough. But I didn't necessarily want it in a Superman comic, because I was, I go to Superman to read about a Superman story, and then I get Sinestro and Parallax. I'm like, okay, this is fine, but it's not really what I thought I was going to get in this issue.
I mean, I don't mind them doing it, because I mean,
it's a nice cross branding.
Yeah, because arguably,
that's why I read DC.
Because if it was in Green Lantern Corps, you might then think, oh, is this too Superman for Green Lantern? So I mean, that can go both
If this
ways.
was in Howlin' Pals, I would have lost it. I would have thrown it probably. That's just because my bias, because it'd have been Venditti writing Sinestro, and I'm just like, nah.
Oh yeah, that's
can't.
fair. I mean, that's
But Champagne again, Johns had made this, and this is kind of tying in with Riddler and Kite Man. When Johns had written Sinestro, he was almost this flawed hero that lost his way and got corrupted by power. Here, it's like, no, dude, this guy's a mustache twirling villain. There we go. That was enough issues with that one.
Yeah, there was a point where he just became. There's a point where he just became Space Hitler.
Yeah, and so here, that's what they're writing him more towards. Is like he's going to get Parallax out of Superman no matter what, and even though Superman's like, look, he's not in me, he's jumped, which was kind of a nice change. Because fear can take many forms. It's not going to be this big space predator.
I mean, that was kind of the crux of like the middle part of the issue, is that it jumps from a couple of different people around them, and Sinestro ends up fighting them, and it's kind of fine. And I mean, probably the best moment, other than the sort of the nightmares of like what he's scared of deep down, is probably just the end of the issue when he comes home and he just wants to watch John sleep. It's just a sweet little Superman moment where he's happy to be home. But otherwise, I don't think this was.
Quard.
Yeah.
I thought that was cool about that back, because last time I checked, Quard was obliterated and there was like a weaponer. So like the fact that they're putting them at such a pedestal, I think there's more coming.
Yeah, makes sense. And obviously we get the note that we'll get the Parallax stuff picked up in Howlin' Pals.
Yeah.
So, be interesting to see if they go back with Quad and bring that up again.
Yeah.
Yeah, I imagine it would be that book that's going to bring up Quad again, if they are going to.
That's where I'd expect it.
Yeah. But I mean, who knows? Sometimes they'll throw us a curveball and it'll be in Harley Quinn or something. Yeah. I don't know.
Well,
you just don't know with that book.
Yeah. But also, I like when they explore new things of fear with Sinestro, because he's like the master of fear, but he's constantly talking about his will. And it's his will that's driving his fear. And then even his paranoia that he doesn't know where Parallax is. That's another fear-based thing.
It still shows why he was a Green Lantern at all. It's like he is still strong-willed enough to bend fear to his purpose.
Exactly. But then when he feels fear, it's because everyone's trying to get him. And it's very a dictator.
It's the idea that, Green Lanterns, their whole thing is they have to overcome fear. Whereas he, instead of overcoming it, he just directed it.
Right. Yeah. And that's how he took over Korrigar and became Space Hitler.
So, no, I mean, I think it's an okay issue. I think the art is spotty, and, I remember the art in the last issue being better.
That's the thing. I don't think individually any of them are bad. Yeah. It's really noticeable
gel
when it changes. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just fluctuating. So I think ultimately it's kind of going to be a forgettable issue for the most part, maybe outside of one or two small moments.
Man, it's so rough that this had been one of the better reads for a couple months, and then it just took this downward turn the last two, with the monuments. And
and even this which was all right. It's definitely some of the weakest that the book's been at.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, though, is like, had Tomasi and Gleason not had those two rough issues before this, we'd have been like, oh, it's because it's a fill-in. And it's, it's like, so it's a bit weaker, but, but because Black Dawn was kind of rough, and then those two, like, field trip issues were just downright,
awful.
Oh, yeah, I was going to try and be a bit more diplomatic with my wording, but yeah.
It doesn't deserve it.
But yeah, fair enough. Awful.
So what's next with Superman?
I think we have another two fill-in issues, do we not? Was it all two
part? I think we do, because they announced it just like last week.
Because it's swapped, because it was originally solicited to be Tomasi and Gleason again, but then they resolicited and they changed it at the last minute.
Okay.
So
it at the end just says next Apocalypse Now. So
that's right.
So maybe some Dark Side or something next issue. Well,
so something new gods. As if they're not popping up enough right now.
Yeah.
So it's like they missed the queue. It's like, no, they hit this month. This is the Kirby month, and then like, nah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. No, we have to do Parallax.
I'm just imagining Keith Champagne in like the DC offices. No, damn it, we need to do Parallax. This is what we do at the DC Comics.
That
was a Twin Peaks reference for everyone who watches Twin Peaks. Thank you very much. What was that, Matt?
I imagine him going, you're right. either you let me tell the Parallax story, I'm putting Parallax and Darkseid. Your choice. Like, all right, do the Parallax story.
I feel
Keith.
like Parallax and Darkseid would just be like, oh, this is quite cozy in here. Oh, this is quite nice.
Yeah.
I'm just going to relax.
Yeah.
Lots of room to spread out. Spread my legs.
All that Garmin Bosia in there. I'm sorry, I'm going to stop with Twin Peaks references because no one's getting them but Connor.
Just get it out of your system.
I know.
Twin Peaks is over. You have to accept this. There's no more.
It's breaking my heart. That's all I'm
There's
saying.
also no more Game of Thrones, and I miss talking about that with Connor.
But we
That's
have
okay.
more coming.
Yeah, you're getting more of that
True.
though. So.
I mean, not much more, but more than he's got at Twin Peaks.
But still, I mean,
I guess that's Superman. We'll move on.
that
to
is.
Green Lanterns number 30, Sam Humphries writing and Carlo Barberi on art. So obviously we're still on this arc with all these first Lanterns. We got Volthoom. Last issue we ended with the Lanterns all uniting, saying the oath. It's time to go take care of the old, the Volthoom prick that he is. And
They weren't
sure.
ready.
No, they weren't ready. No, that's.
They were not ready.
I can just hear Carl Urban as Dread saying, "Not ready." Just
Yeah.
all I can hear. Because he's on the what planet is he on with
Maltus.
yeah, it's the species that the Guardians came from, but the Guardians have all went small,
Yeah.
so it's the regular sized ones. And he's like,
Yep.
he's bragging, he's like, ha ha, I killed the planet, and ha 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 ha, I might have to kill all your children until I get what I want. Ma, I want my travel lantern. But he's
That's
fluctuating.
probably his best moment is threatening homicide, but in a cheery way.
Yeah, well,
Like,
he's fluctuating between all the different spectrums because he keeps changing colour. And they're
Yeah.
playing with that whole idea that he's unstable and he can't really control the
Right.
power that he's got. But sure enough, the Lanterns all show up, sort of 2x2, and they kind of like come in and attack him in various ways. And we get a lot of double-page layouts with various action going on, and some of it's quite fun. Some I like the little setup pages beforehand where they're all just kind of getting ready and like they're all kind of hanging out in their toes and talking and stuff. But then they start dropping dead like flies. Like they are going out. I've got 3 confirmed kills here.
right?
And there must be a fourth because
Four, judging by the end, yeah.
yeah, there was 4 rings at the end, but I only caught 3 when I was actually noting
Well,
them down.
don't forget the blue one was still floating around. It hadn't found an initiate.
Oh, you mean the
Right.
Kryptonian?
The Kryptonian.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
yeah.
Yeah, that's the 4th. You're right.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the casualties for this issue, we get Aletha, who was the first one we were introduced to. She's dead. Colleen, who's the elemental one, dead, and then Brill, the robot, he also dead. And he's just going through them. You know what? I'm a little upset about Brill, but my 2 favourites are Zakran, the White Martian, and Kaja from Yod Kolu. So I'm actually happy they're still alive. Admittedly, their issue pages might be numbered, but
Well, yeah, because there's only one that has to survive to line up with the timeline. That
I
we're on
that's-
Tyrriner.
Yeah.
Tyroner.
Yeah, him. He used to survive. The rest of them could die, but I like the last 2 that are left other than him, so I hope they don't, but hey-ho. But you see how just devastating this is, though, because at the end of, like, when they're all getting their asses kicked, it ends with Volthoom picking up Jessica by the hair, and it's like this proper, oh man, they're screwed. And that's when Baz comes in, even though he's not got a ring, he's like, right, put your fists up, you asshole. I'm doing this. I don't care. And of course, that's
He's got nothing left to lose. He's 10 billion years in the past. He's probably not getting home. So let's do this. Go out swinging.
The point where he literally just throws a rock at him.
He's like, if all else fails,
Throw a rock.
Why not?
yeah. But that's when all 4 of the rings that have just freed up come
It
in.
amuses me that he's kind of Volthoom's kind of controlled his emotions. He's fluctuating a bit. He's got into rage already, but it's the rock that actually makes him explode. Like, that's what makes him lose his composure. That's the last touch.
Yeah. So all the rings come in, and Baz, the big final last page is that Baz is wearing 4 lantern rings. He's got his mask back on. And I almost want to speculate, why is the rest of the suit staying there when he's not got a ring, but the mask is fading in, whatever. I'm not going to read into it too much, but so we end with this. He's got 4 rings on, he's ready to fight, and hopefully he can take on Volthoom. And I think the next issue is the final. Or
I think there's one more after with the wrap up.
No, yeah, but I meant the final of this arc. Yeah, there's an there's an epilogue issue, but this is next one's the
Humphries
last.
is writing to 32, right? Before Seeley takes over at 33.
Yeah, so 31's the final of this arc, and then 32 is an epilogue issue.
Yeah.
So, no, big. So it may be Bazzy's time to shine. You know, Jessica's had such a great arc.
About time, really, isn't it?
Yeah, because she's had such a great arc of like overcoming her anxiety, and she's like been training the other Lanterns. She's felt like a proper leader. Now she did kind of fail here, but I'm not going to blame her. She is still a rookie. But it seems like Baz is going to get his chance to be the big hero and save the day.
She's training them like they're all Green Lanterns, and all these aren't really Green Lanterns. They're all representative of the other forms.
That's true, yeah, because the other rings don't exist yet, so they're just kind of...
Exactly.
Actually, that was one of my favourite touches, actually. I like Rami and Ganthet in the past here reacting to it, and he's like, hey, we're safe, the green rings are here. And, Rami's, who we've... Or not Rami, sorry, Ganthet, who we've traditionally had as the main guardian, the one that we've really interacted with through John's
everybody's favorite guardian, until Rami.
And it's almost like he's just sort of starting to be convinced, oh yes, these rings, these might be a good idea.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what I was getting from him. But no. That was a good issue. I think Lanterns obviously has been great for a while. And this was mostly action, so it went in really quick. It was just a big kerfuffle of smashing things together, but it was good stuff.
Yeah, and I was like, go on.
Go ahead, Connor. Well, I was just talking about Brill. I didn't think that I cared about that big robot until he was just like his final words. Or, to find the creator, you have to protect the creation. I was like, oh man. Mission statement.
He was Brill, you might say. Suck it, Connor.
I'm just not
you could have made a brilliant joke, and you didn't.
No, it was. That's what I did do. Brill short for brilliant. You never used that before? Never heard that?
No.
Maybe that's a British thing.
I think it is, but...
It might be.
I got what he was on about, and I was annoyed. So yeah. he fulfilled
I was
his
annoyed
purpose.
he just didn't finish the word. There's no shorten things and make them slang. Who does that?
Coming from the American, where one Texan once wanted to shorten pi to just round it to 3 because 3.14 was just, that's too much.
That's mathematics. Don't get me on that. Right? I don't care about that. Like, when I talk about pi, it's the dessert, not the math figure. All right. But Brill, that dude, didn't know I was so attached to him. He was the last one we met. Trying to swing this back around, and he made the most impact. So I kind of hope someone does something. Like I want some payoff with his colony.
It may come up. I mean, it could be something someone touches on later down the line, either in this book or in.
Well, like I said, we
else.
do have another. We did have another lantern from that same place there's precedent.
Yeah, it could pop up. But no, that's pretty much it for this book for me. I think just fun action, ending obviously a big moment. I liked how sort of how futile the fight was for the Lanterns. Like they all just kind of went down.
And, I do like that Simon's finally got a moment, because it feels like mostly this book is supposed to be a pair book. It's supposed to be the two of them. But like 80% of the time, I'd have said it's Jessica's book.
Yeah. Which, I mean, I think we all prefer Jessica, so we don't complain too much about it. But it is nice for Simon to get a moment. That's big
he probably deserves one. And Humphries is probably like, oh wait, hang on, I'm finishing my run. I should probably give Simon something to do before I leave.
I feel like Simon's the Lost Lantern though, because he's not one of the 4 Earth Lanterns that we. I mean, even though he's from Earth, he was in that weird John's era. Yeah,
he kind of came at the end of that, and then no one really knew what to do with him after for a while, so they kind of just pretended he didn't exist almost.
Yep. And then Jessica comes along and, is everyone's new favorite Earth Lantern because she actually has character. It's not just, a rage-filled guy,
Yeah.
So, but hey, I'm glad that Simon did get his moment. And I wonder if those ring shards, did they come out of him? Or
no, I think it's still in his arms.
Still there.
Yeah. Maybe that'll give him like an extra bit of charge, going forward.
Yeah.
Assuming he only keeps 1 ring, I feel like he won't be keeping all 4. But
but I feel like one of those goes on to become Jessica's, and that's why it calls her Jaybird and whatnot, is he's like left an imprint on it.
Maybe because if he keeps 1 and takes it back to present day, but the other 3 are left to stay in their own time. Yeah, one of those could be what becomes. Yeah, I could see that.
Works.
Anyway, so I guess we'll stick with green and go to Green Arrow number 30. Benjamin Percy writing. Otto Schmidt is back on art. So we've went from one fantastic artist to another, so that's nice. As much as it's a very different style, and you do kind of wish they planned these out so that you had the one artist on the whole arc, but hey ho.
Yeah.
Yeah, at least I can kind of excuse this arc a little bit more, because the idea that he's traveling to different places, different guests. It feels like a different style for each of those would feel appropriate to me.
Yeah, except the last three all had the same style.
Yeah.
So, but hey, so we actually start off with first of all, there's the very on the nose political page where he's talking about what everyone's scared of.
That said, I do think it's the most balanced Percy's ever been in his political speech, because he shows both sides of the politics. People being afraid of various things, but getting in people's heads as to why they vote whichever way, essentially.
Yeah, I feel like most of it was from the same side of the political spectrum. There was maybe one that was. There's
certain things that no matter where you're at on the spectrum, there are things that affect you. So I feel that's where he was writing from, because he definitely has a point of view when it comes to this.
Don't get me wrong. I think they're all valid panels. I think the one that stuck out to me though is like, okay, we're really on the nose now. Is the one at the bottom with the president?
Last one, yeah.
I was like, okay,
I
right.
also feel, and this might just be me tipping my hand a little bit, I feel like in a universe where there's superheroes, that person wouldn't become president. Like,
one would hope.
Yeah, because everyone's got Superman to look up to, so why would they even entertain this?
You say that, but we did have a President Lex.
Yeah, but Lex was competent, so...
Yeah, Lex is smart enough to pull it off.
I'll give you that.
And that was even the whole point of that story, was Superman going like, you didn't do anything illegal. You were the president of the U.S. now. And I have to respect that, but don't forget, I will be watching you.
Whereas the current president is a lot more like that Black Mirror episode, the Waldo moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're right.
Yeah, so... Yeah. Anyway, So we go from that page to basically a couple of pages reenacting part of Mad Max Fury Road with Green Arrow on a bike with his arrows. But otherwise, it's this similar big truck, there's fire everywhere, and you've got all these looking.
You say that, but it's missing the big guitarist. So what's the point?
the point is
warrior.
Point is action. The point is all the yellow and orangey red colours to like contrast with his green, because the rest of the issue is going to be very green. We're going to get green overload in a minute. We're going to have Green Arrow, Green Lantern shows up, Hal Jordan specifically, and he's like, I heard you need a lift, and they have some banter, a couple of little callbacks to, the hard traveling heroes thing they had in the past, but Hal takes him into space to look for this eye in the sky, as it was referred to, this satellite that's using, it's not Brother Eye, before anyone...
I'm still disappointed, actually, because... That's always been how Brother Eye has been referred to before the reveal in every story that they do with Brother Eye. But
to be fair here, the whole idea is to set up this that they're actually using multiple satellites, and there's just like one router above Star City, and and to be honest, come on, this thing in the dark side of the moon they find, this big station, is
pretty cool.
Is pretty awesome.
It's sinister.
It's not Brother Eye.
You look at it and you're just like, that's not good.
It's not.
You could look at Brother Eye and just go, okay, it's a satellite. This thing looks like a sword.
It looks like the apocalypse is coming. This is going to cause it.
Yeah. Well, yeah. You stepped on my sword of Damocles hanging over by a thread, because I feel that's what they were going for. But
So I think this Green Arrow arc's been pretty great. I think the issue with the Flash was maybe a bit weaker, but pretty much since then it's been.
You mean since Pariah was on art?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, that's fair. But I think they're bonding here, and I think Green Lantern saying, you like being the big fish in the small pond, but now this is an issue that's affecting the entire country, possibly the entire planet. So you're stepping out of the big leagues, but there's fighting and there's bickering and there's I don't want you to sneeze and because obviously Green Lantern's shielding him from space. He's giving him a green suit, as it were. And he's like, I don't want you to sneeze and accidentally shoot me into space. He's like, trust me, if that happens, it won't be an accident. Fun. There's fun banter throughout, kind of like that. Also, when I get into this big thing, this big station in the dark side of the moon, I love the look of the guy who's like guarding it. Like this guy who's in the command center. He legitimately looks like one of the enemies from Doom.
He does. Yeah.
You know, he's got those things in his shoulders. He looks like one of those creatures from Doom. And then he
That,
comes.
that can't be an accident, right? Like that has to be like a shout out.
Probably, yeah, possibly. I don't know if Benjamin Percy's a games
it's
fan, but
very similar, so I'd assume so.
yeah, or maybe not even Percy. It could be Schmidt, who's the fan. But either way, like it feels like an intentional homage to creatures from Doom. But no, so but I like when it cut to him because with when the two greens are on panel, as it were. Everything's very green. It's all greens, and obviously the black is space behind them, so the green's very overpowering. But then it cuts to this control room with this monster guy. One of the faceless dudes from the Ninth Circle, and the Burned.
The Burnt Man
is what I was looking for. But it cuts to him, and the room's just bathed in red. It's, the idea that there's the red kind of alarm light is going off, and he's like sitting there, and he's got this creepy like. In fact, bringing back to Mad Max Fury Road, it's almost like the breather that the bad guy in that has.
Yeah,
So I was getting all these Doom and Mad Max, like all these kind of visual cues I was getting from all these different things, but it was giving it a lot of
post-apocalypse.
presence.
Well, I don't know about Doom, but
well, it is. It's the post-apocalypse on Mars, basically.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Demons on Mars. That's all you need to know.
Yeah. I suppose it's not post-apocalyptic. It's just that Mars just already looks post-apocalyptic. So.
Yeah.
Well, Mars is already post-apocalyptic. It's just really post.
Yeah, we don't know what happened there, but it probably wasn't good.
Okay, yeah, sure. If you believe there was one civilization on Mars, then sure, yes, it's very, very post-apocalyptic. But to be fair, actually, in the DC universe, it is post-apocalyptic because Jean and all that were there. So yeah,
Martians. Yeah.
We're not on Mars, admittedly, right now, but yeah, fair point.
Anyways, I love the banter between Hal and Ollie, and I kind of want a team-up book now, written by Percy.
Yeah, Brave and the Bold, or whatever. Take your pick.
Yeah,
I'd be down for a proper team-up book. Not necessarily just these two, but cycles through, like I say, Brave and Bold. Just
but I just, he's doing once a month coming up with Green Arrow, and not that I want to increase his workload, but like. He seems to be really good. Like we said, the Flash one was kind of weak, but the Wonder Woman one was decent, and the Superman one was really good. His Batman was a lot of fun.
Yeah, Batman
is... though, is he elevated by the artist? Because like you mentioned, the Flash one was weak. It was a different artist, but...
I think to an extent, yeah, but I also think the Flash one was just I feel like Batman really hit like the core of Batman, and yeah, the art did help it certainly early on when you had all the city shots and stuff. Superman, again, like the idea of Superman flying through the city, catching like dozens of people, like just the ideas I think were more fun in those books as well.
The ideas, sure. I'm wondering in terms of the the dialogue and the actual action, how collaborative he is with these artists, the regular ones. It's their book as well.
Maybe, yeah. I can see that.
How much influence they actually have.
I will say though, like I think the island stuff that we had for 2 issues was one of the regular artists, and that was pretty rough. So I don't think the art elevates it if it's just not like I think there was like a meeting of both of them together. So, but no, I like this. Obviously, the big cliffhanger is that this big monster guy comes out and whacks Hal into space, and it knocks him out, and then like. Ollie's like spacesuits starting to disintegrate, and he's like, "Hal, I need you, buddy." And it's like, yeah, okay, so he's screwed. So I think we have the finale of this arc next issue, so that'll be good fun. Of course, let's not gloss over though. Back in Star City, we have Red Arrow, or that's what Emmy wants to be called anyway. She's I actually quite appreciated her joke about wanting to go on strike, sidekick strike.
Sidekick strike. Give me a good chuckle.
But yeah, so her and Canary are underground, and they find the what's his face, the auctioneer. Yeah, so they find him.
That was super creepy. They have the girl they're looking for chained up like Leia in Return of the Jedi. Yeah.
So again, obviously that's been really slow moving through it because there's only been a couple of pages per issue for this story, but it's progressing nicely.
It is.
I've always smiled whenever we cut to it, and I never go to it and go, "Oh, we're taking away from the main story." Like I always enjoy checking in those characters, and this was no exception to that. So,
I have a question on the lettering. Hitchhike, is that one word?
Yeah,
I think so. Yeah,
because I always thought of it as 2 words, but
because Hitchhiker's one word as well. So,
what was that?
Hitchhiker's one word as well. So
Oh, that's true. I think I always see it as like hitchhiker, but just to hitchhike. I don't think I rarely see that
to be fair,
written down or said like that.
how many words are actually just combinations of two other words that eventually you just stop using the hyphen and it just becomes a new word?
No, that's fair. It just when I saw the two H's next to each other in the lettering, I was like, it looks a bit strange like that in that panel.
Yeah, okay.
But
Fair.
I don't know. Maybe it was because it was bolded as well. Just the word when I saw it in there, it looked a bit strange. Probably just me.
Fair. Yeah. Obviously, Schmidt's good on art. Like we talked about a lot about the colours so far already. I like his Hal actually. I think I would like to see Schmidt on a Green Lantern book. After this.
I think one thing I do have with Schmidt is his characters often look really young. Like his Hal looks quite young again.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It feels-
It's strange with Ollie as well because like he's supposed to look a bit older now. He's got the beard and everything, but he still looks quite young. So I don't know if that's intentional or not.
It feels very Darwin Cook.
Yeah,
Where they're kind of timeless.
yeah, that's fair.
That's how I took it.
Yeah, I think that's just Schmidt's style. I don't think there's anything that's going to change
No,
about
no,
that.
I really notice it when you have a guest because you get accustomed to the regular characters, but when you see Hal, it's like, oh, okay, he looks quite young.
Yeah, I think that's just something you have to get used to varying a
It
lot
is,
as
yeah.
you're reading comics because it's
Yeah.
going to be all over the place depending on who's drawing them. And even colouring them to an extent. You draw in a 5 o'clock shadow, or you colour in a extra shadow on the face, and all of a sudden, the dude looks about 10 years older.
No, that's true.
But no, Green Arrow still really good, really strong arc, and excited to wrap up. So we've got Green Lanterns and Green Arrow both finishing their arcs in 2 weeks, so that'll be exciting. Alright, that'll take us on to Nightwing number 28, Tim Seeley writing, Javier Fernandez and Miguel Mendonca on art. So this was the wrap up of this spiral arc. We have Nightwing and Huntress at the school, and we find out that Mr. Menos, am I pronouncing that right?
Minus.
Yeah, mine
Oh,
is-
man.
That.
Jesus.
That's been building for a while.
My back?
There you go.
Yeah.
I will say I enjoyed the issue for various reasons. There was maybe so much coming from Grayson in this issue that I don't think all of it had the impact on me that maybe it did for someone
Yeah.
who did read that book.
This is basically an epilogue for Grayson.
Pretty much.
From Tiger to Mr. Minos to Huntress, as they keep calling her Matron.
Yeah.
So, I still feel the disconnect, though, that the Huntress version and the Grayson version are two different. And no matter what they try to do, it's always going to feel that way.
No, I know what you mean. Like, because obviously then she was fully endorsed in being a spy stuff. She wasn't really
Yeah.
connected to any of this stuff until after. So it does feel like there is a clear split in the character.
Yeah.
I like her being Huntress though, but then again I didn't read
Oh,
much
so
of
do I.
Grayson. So,
Yeah.
I just feel like they threw her into Grayson as Helena Bertinelli just because. Like, they wanted that, it's
Well,
kind of like
that's
when they
'cause
do
it
a
was-
movie and they make a reference.
Yeah,
But-
well, that's what it was. It was New 52. They already had a Huntress of a sort,
Right.
so they didn't need another one.
yeah.
Right, so. But here, it's like, well, we'll just do the same, we'll give her the same. Which, her being a spy and her being a mafia hunter don't seem relatively the same path. So, but hey, it's comics. It's whatever.
Yeah, I can work with both. That's fine.
Yeah.
So Dick ends up being like shackled to like mind control technology and whatnot, and basically a lot of the issue is the Skullgirls with Huntress try to hack in so they can eventually free Tiger so he can help, and Dick gets a message from Huntress through this technology to try and distract Minos long enough that they can get in and do what they need to do without him noticing, and that's kind of what happens. So question, so the final Skullgirl they find in the school, Lottie her name is she supposed to be Scottish?
Indeed.
Because points for the word bobag, which I've never read in a comic before. That's a ball sack, to translate that for anyone who didn't quite catch it.
Sounds like it would be.
However, I have to critique another phrase that was incorrectly used. Later on, she's mentioning she's made like some new software or something, and she calls it pure damn genius. Was it genius? No, it was pure damn brilliant, I think it was. I can't remember what the last word was. It doesn't really matter.
Oh, she missed
either way.
out on saying Brill.
She didn't say brill, but she said pure damn brilliant. That is incorrect, at least from my experience. The phrase that I think Seeley was going for there is pure dead brilliant. Which means nothing to anyone who doesn't know this, but...
It could be just a different area of Scotland, to be fair.
It could be. I've never heard of it though. It struck me as weird. To me, it really felt like he was trying to write a Scottish phrase, and I went, "Oh no, that's wrong. He got a word wrong. That's really weird and wrong. Oh dear."
But he got ball bag, so it's fine.
He did get ball bag right, so fair enough for ball bag.
It sounds so much when you say it like ball bag. I don't know if I can say that, but believe me if you need to.
Likewise, you can say balls instead of balls.
Right.
So just to train you how to speak some Scottish. But yeah, so that stuck out to me. This is not like Connor's complaint. I'll need to tweet him because Connor gave him some shit on Twitter for getting the spelling of whiskey wrong.
And he did say he did look into it and still got it wrong. So you could tell him, look, I know you probably looked into it again, but
he got close. He just got one word wrong. He said damn instead of dead.
I'm looking at it now, and he's even bolded it, just to show it was a phrase.
Mm-hmm.
And he's drawn attention to it.
What was the last word? Brilliant? Did I remember that right?
It was, yeah. Pure damn brilliant.
Yeah, pure dead brilliant would be the phrase he's looking for. Pure dead gorgeous is often used as well when describing the attractiveness of a lady. But yeah, so that was. I think the more exciting stuff for me in this issue was actually the Mouse and Sean stuff. Even though I did have some, I have a critique of it. But the critique I have of it is more the critique we already had of it before. It's just still there. Mm-hmm. Sean's decision to go along with Pigeon never felt like it was developed enough. So that's still kind of lingering there because in this one it kind of confirmed that she had decided to do that. It wasn't some sort of weird undercover thing. Because we see in this issue our decision to not do it. So she had decided to do it.
Yeah, I'm assuming it was a moment in grief and all that. It was just she kind of just went for it and then kind of thought better of it. Yeah,
because basically the last issue she saw Mouse get into the same building and she follows her in and stops Mouse from doing what she was there to do, which turns out was to try and assassinate Blockbuster. Yeah. And she stops her and takes her out. Blockbuster wakes up. I will say, I will critique slightly. Later on, she says, "Oh, Blockbuster couldn't have seen who we were. It was dark and stuff." And I never really got that from the scene.
Yeah, it looked like he was looking right at them.
Yeah. But
although when he transforms, maybe he,
it does this weird thing where, so he's looking right at them, but they're silhouetted. You don't, and their identities are hidden. Like you can see the outline of them, but it just does the pop art dots.
Which is kind of wrong because if they're silhouette for him, we'd see them from that side.
Right. But I think it's more just to show, look, their identities are hidden, sort of thing.
Yeah. I never got that from it though until they said it later on.
No, I didn't either. Like, because in the next panel, she saps him. I think she sprays him with something.
Yeah.
And he looks away. He covers his eyes. Then that's how they get away.
I think maybe it would just be more clear to have him not quite see them and have them jump out the window before he stands up.
Instead of him looking directly at them.
It's just an odd choice that made that a bit murky in terms of the storytelling.
I think it was especially weird when the very next page we cut back to Dick and he's all chained up in the machine and it is dark. You can see how dark it is. You can see all the shadows, whereas the room before looks really brightly lit.
Yeah. So Pigeon's pissed off at Defacer, Sean, now, because she turned her back on her. So that'll be something we have to deal with. But the main thing is that she basically realises that, so Mouse did this in sort of anger and rage. She gave up all the, being clean that she'd had for however long, but whilst they were in the support group and all the rest of it. And she's like, oh no, I was doing the same damn thing. I was sort of forgetting everything I've done and achieved over the last year or whatever. For just this, thrill because I was angry, and she makes this choice to go and maybe make up with Dick. We see her rocket booting to Dick's house, which
it's pretty cool, isn't it?
Yeah, she's got rocket boots, so that's the thing. Have we seen those before? I feel like this was out of nowhere for me. That she has rocket boots.
That was her thing. That's how she got around.
Was that okay? Fair enough. I just
Remember when she fought Dr. Hurt? She had the one boot.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'd
But
forgotten
Rocket
about
Boots,
it.
right? I thought you were just bringing them up because Rocket Boots are cool.
No, I turned the page and she was like flying through the air with rocket boots, and I was like, does she always had rocket
I
boots?
just know that if Connor was gifted $1 million, what he would try to do with it now is make rocket boots.
You telling me you wouldn't make Rocket Boots?
No, I've seen enough Looney Tune cartoons. I know how possibly bad that can go.
Yeah. Let Connor do it.
Yeah, I know. I'm not telling you not to do it. I'm just saying it's not for me.
Let it happen. So she's flying, and obviously we cut to Dick's place, and him and Huntress are, and obviously they've had sexual tension throughout the entire arc. They have that moment as they're flying away from the school that she's like, the only person I feel comfortable around is you, and so they're getting it on, and you see Defacer, she sees it through the window, you can just see her in the distance, a little small in the sky. And then really good page in the next page actually, because you see her reaction. She goes from shock to anger to kind of just sort of sadness. Like she's almost about to get angry, but then she fights it and just is sad. And I like that even though she didn't achieve what she set out to do by going to see Dick, she still learned her lesson from the experiences she just did.
She didn't lash out in rage and attack Helena.
But it does set up this awkward sort of status quo going forward, where no doubt they're going to run into each other, and she might bring up that she saw it, or at least treat him hostilely because of it.
Yeah.
So
They're broken up for like 2 days, and he's already.
Joe was a small touch in the color I loved here, because obviously you see her deface outfit and you see the colors, the blue and then the purple logo, and then you cut to Dick and Helena in bed, and it's the blue pillows but the purple sheets.
Oh.
Yeah, and then it's actually just after that as well, right towards the end of the book, where you get a page of them lying on the bed, and you just see like parts of the costumes like scattered around the floor, like some Nightwing, some Huntress, and blue and purple. And then we get a little tease at the end that during all the confusion, Raptor got out, so we have some Raptor to deal with soon.
I love how they dealt with it like it's the Raptors in Jurassic Park. It's like, oh, Mr. Minos, when he was Tiger, let him out.
Oh man, I just realised what I want more than anything in life.
Raptor riding a raptor?
No, I want Raptor to like sneak up in Dick, and when he shows up in the next couple of issues, and then have Dick just go, "Clever girl."
Yeah.
I don't know. You know in the first issue of Metal where we had Batman riding the dinosaur. Do you know what Raptor riding a raptor?
Not really.
Nah, it's too on the
He's
nose.
more of a bird raptor more than a dinosaur raptor.
Yeah, but
you know what I mean?
You take a
I just
page,
want more people riding dinosaurs.
You need to take a page out of my book, Connor. You need to have, my puns are all tasteful and aren't too on the nose. You need to have more of that.
Yeah, but this isn't about a pun. I just want more people riding dinosaurs.
Okay, you can write a Stegosaurus. Or
it's hard to argue with that,
Stegosauruses aren't fast enough to ride cool. Like they're like they're bulky and they're cool. They're a tank, yeah, but you ain't making a quick escape on one of them.
No. So you ride a Triceratops.
Yeah, there you go.
So that's my favorite dinosaur.
Matt knows his dinosaurs.
I do.
He does. You can. That one in Jurassic World that she says, you hear a kid try to pronounce this. I bet Matt can do that right now. I can't remember it, but
I can't remember it either right now. Okay. It's been a while. But I did watch last Sunday. I watched Jurassic Park because I felt like it. So,
like you need a reason to watch Jurassic Park.
No, I was just like, hey, let's watch it.
As you do. So the actual spiral conclusion to everything with all this like mind battling and like hacking and whatnot. I thought that was fine. It didn't have a lot of resonance for me as someone who didn't read Grayson. It was just kind of like, oh, here's the end of the story, and this is how it's going. Whereas the Sean stuff,
even then, Grayson was never that clear because it was always playing with the whole, with the fact like there was someone trying to use them to spiral in order to.
It was so much spies within spies.
Yeah, with Leviathan and all that stuff. Yeah.
Whereas the Sean stuff and all that, because that is the characters that I've been with for this run, and I'm connected to those, and I'm caring about what they're doing and stuff. That stuff was hitting for me a lot more. Especially the ending. I think Sean witnessing that was like, typically, because I think usually in movies and TV shows and stuff, when I realise that someone's about to see someone else kissing someone or something like that, I usually roll my eyes because it's like, oh, okay, here we go, we're going to do this trope. But no, it says something that when I care about all three characters, that I don't roll my eyes and I'm like, oh, damn.
I think that's it. Even if you hadn't read any of Grayson, it still spent enough time in this arc setting up the relationship between Dick and Huntress. There's enough there that you buy why this happens, even if you haven't seen them before.
Also, I'm excited for this to come up in front of Babs as well.
He's getting around like Matt Murdock.
Yeah. Birds of Prey, I think this will be an exciting development in their relationship when Babs finds out that Huntress has been boning Dick. I didn't even mean that, Matt, and he's just sitting there giggling.
You can't help it.
She's got to know Dick's a womanizer. That's what he is.
Yeah, well, that's it. Like, man. They need to have a scene where, like, if you haven't slept with Dick Grayson, raise your hand, and no one,
Yeah, this isn't a new development.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like he doesn't actually pursue it, necessarily.
No, they just come to him.
Yeah, he's like a magnet. He's literally a chick magnet.
All right.
He is, yeah.
I mean, have you seen his ass? I mean, it makes sense.
It does.
So,
You sounded like Michael Scott in that episode of The Office where he's like, did they even see Pam? Or Angela from behind?
Oh, dear. Any final thoughts on Nightwing before we move on? Since we dragged that down to
I'm really looking forward to getting more of that, the relationship drama stuff coming up, which is weird for me to say that in my superhero books. I don't typically think that. I feel like when it was in Titans, when that started coming up, I'm like, ugh, it's getting a bit soapy. But here, I think it's just much more compelling.
Oh, because we have preconceived notions about his love life with Babs.
Yeah, maybe that's what it is.
Yeah.
No, I agree. I look forward to that. I mean, Raptor, I can take or leave, but this love triangle, yeah.
I'm interested in Raptor showing back up to see, what the evolution of the story is with him.
No, that's fair. All right, so I think we'll move on then to our final book already. What a short trip this one's been. Deathstroke, number 23, Christopher Priest writing, Diogenes Neves on art. And this was very much a sort of between big moments issue for me. This was like the team training together, Deathstroke being, a dick, as he typically is.
This might be one of my favourite issues.
Of course it is.
It was strong.
And you had all these concepts being brought up. This idea that Rosie's sword might even be from the future because it's got material and tech on it that doesn't exist yet.
Right, like some Legion references thrown in there.
And Eltron was the Was it a material? I think it was a material. It was more of a.
It was the metal, wasn't it?
Was it the metal? Well, because they're saying that's like an alloy, and it's in there. And as far as their things know, that the only time they've experienced an Erton is with didn't they say time travelers and stuff?
Yeah, it was. She said it was in the New 52's Teen Titans. She said that they went into the future, and that's really
which I wasn't reading by that point.
Of course, I don't think any of us were.
I was out.
Yeah. But so it sets up that. It sets up a lot of things. Rose is pissed at Slade, which is not new development, but she brings a lot up. But if I'm going to make a criticism about this issue, is that I don't think I have seen so many editor's notes in a single comic book in a long time. There's literally a page with 4 of them on it.
Yeah, I do feel that's because by it going monthly, I think it's picked up some new readers. So they jumped on with the Defiant.
I think it's a problem as well with it being such long form storytelling.
Yeah.
That when you're referencing something from issue 5 and the Rebirth issue still, in the 20s, it's like
which you
just a little reminder.
Didn't need to do because they had that scene that reminded you in the beginning.
Yeah, that first scene.
Of that scene.
I agree, but maybe it's for people. I think it's more for people who came and picked up after Lazarus Contract.
Yeah.
People who saw the new status quo and thought, "Oh, maybe I'll give this a try," and jumped on.
Yep. That's what I'm thinking too. Because there's a lot of that stuff that we just since being reading it from day one with me and Connor.
Yeah, I found the ability to ignore most of these editors' notes, whereas sometimes I do find them useful.
But But yes, it was nice to kind of remind
Because
you.
a couple of them had the opposite effect to me, where I just read the panel, not really, worrying about, if it was something that was brought up before, and then it would say issue 9. I'm like, oh, was this brought up before? Oh shit, what am I forgetting?
That's it. We do have. So one says issue 5, then the next page has just about Grant being the original Ravager. Then issue 9, issue 5 and 8, issue 14, over 2 pages.
That's 2 pages.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's 2 pages.
That is a insane
that's 2
amount.
pages next to each other.
Also, I need a not a time travel, but a flashback. That's what I was looking for. Of Grant as Ravager, because it feels like he was only Ravager for like 20 minutes. Like, no, not even that. He was out on that first one that we saw in Lazarus Contract, and that was it. So like, if he was the first Ravager and he built a name for himself, I kind of want to see that.
Yeah.
Is it just me?
No, I'm with you.
This is
I'll
a
be
fine
down
idea.
seeing more.
Especially since that so much of this issue here, like both kids actually reference him, because Rose is like, oh, I took the name of him, and then Jericho's like, oh, I was never really his son. He's my father, but Grant was his son, kind of thing. So they both bring.
And
it
we
up.
even saw that in the Rebirth, where Grant was the one that wasn't dealing with Deathstroke stuff even before he was Deathstroke.
Yeah.
When he told him, like, you're just here to bang mom and then go back to work, like, you know.
So what else have we got going on here? So we have Tara is basically planting seeds of doubt. She's like, I mean, not that I think Rose needed any seeds of doubt, but she's like, Slade's just got an agenda here, right? He's yeah, sure, save people along the way. Like, if that's convenient to do, then sure, he'll do it. But he's got other
I feel
things.
like that can't be that effective, because they must all know that.
Yeah, I feel like they do. Yeah,
They must all go, this is Deathstroke the Terminator. Yeah, that guy's going to just help out people with no ulterior motive.
Yeah, but is he Terminator 1 or Terminator 2? That's important.
Oh, for God's sake.
Worst case scenario is Terminator 5.
Yeah, that is worst case scenario.
So I was going to say 3, but 5 is definitely worse than 3.
Oh, 5 is definitely worse than 3. No question.
Yeah.
No question.
So, but yeah, I liked seeing them actually work together, and like Tara bringing up some of the like coral for Power Girl to step on so they can balance, like, equalize the ship so it doesn't implode.
Oh yeah,
because of the water.
I mean, ultimately this
That's
action
cool.
scene wasn't like the most like important thing in the world, but it was like a really fun scene because you got Power Girl being giant, trying to like hold the ship. You got Jericho doing his vision bouncing around from people to people, which leaves him vulnerable because he ends up falling into the water. And
That
just,
was
like,
a great
sinking.
moment. We're like, are we sure we thought this through about Jericho being the leader, because he's always vulnerable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
You got Kid Flash zooming around getting the suicide belts.
yeah. So no, the scene was a lot of fun, but you've got all these like character beats sort of spread throughout in between. You got Jericho mad at Adeline for pushing him into this life, and like, I want my mother back. You've grown cold and distant, and you're this evil person who's trying to like take on Deathstroke at his own game, which is probably not the best thing to be doing. And then we have this current building seeds of this Willow assassin or security for hire, and this girl with amnesia and all this stuff that's going on. So, things be happening, things being set up. I'm almost worried that month to month I'm going to have to go back and just sort of recap the last couple of issues to make sure I'm keeping track of everything that's going on.
To be
That's what
fair,
editor's notes are for.
yeah, to be fair, that's what I had to do when it was shipping twice a month, because they were always so dense. I would kind of space on everything else. But here it's almost a little bit easier because it's gone from like spy action type stuff with Deathstroke to now they're full blown superheroes. That's easier for me to catalog.
With the inception of the team and it being a team building book, it's not as much into just the family drama and all these tangled web of secrets. So it's actually more digestible.
And they're still reminding you that somebody killed Jericho's wife to be. Yeah. We're still not quite sure who it was.
Yeah, he keeps poking fun. That's maybe not the right phrase, but he keeps implying that Adeline may have had something to do with it.
Yeah. Well, she was Hive, and I forget, because when we did the Judas contract, you forget that how entrenched Deathstroke was to Hive. And so and how much Adeline's been against them because of Deathstroke. So it'd kind of be like, well, I don't want my son getting involved with a Hive agent, so we're gonna do this for his own good, which makes her no different than Deathstroke, because that's always been Deathstroke's MO on dealing with his sons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he goes to ridiculous lengths to control everything in their lives.
Yeah.
You know, like hiring actors to play a fake family, just, you know, so Rose, like...
But yeah, we talked about the inertron, but we didn't talk about why, because it pierced his suit.
Yes.
Which it wasn't supposed to. That he basically let Rose
I like that we
stab
glossed
him.
over that. The Rose stabs him during training, and he's actually bleeding to death and fall on top of her.
And like his
And
whole
she's like, "Oh,
speech about
fun
the swords.
joke." Yeah.
Yeah,
Good job
I
on the
thought that
blood. But yeah. It
Yeah,
was-
actually, I like that. It was as when they're leaving the mission from the boat, and Wintergreen's like, "Oh, so what are you grading them on this one?" He's like, "Slightly less worse.
Yeah.
Once I don't believe I can take every single one of them down in 60 seconds, maybe they'll get a pass. Maybe 90.
I love how Wintergreen kind of is like, well, you're a charm. Like his whole tone
Yeah,
is...
he goes, I'll encourage them when I'm unable to kill them all within 60 seconds.
Yeah.
Maybe at 90 seconds.
Also, he talks about how he's really tempted to use this fancy sword, but if he has the sword on him, he will use it. Which is, again, cuts back to the training sequence when he's telling Rose, you used to walk around with dual katanas, but you never... You know, you always used the blunt side, which showed the enemies you were vulnerable. You know what your weakness was.
His whole thing about if you've got a sword, you've got to be prepared to use it, and it's kind of the same way that he treats guns as well, isn't it? It's like, look, I've got this, I'm going to use it. You've got to be prepared for that. And he gives it that great thing. He's like, you know, if you used one of these, Kid Flash, you'd be unstoppable.
Yeah.
Terrifying.
But yeah, although my question would be, why does he need it? Because he could just run around and snap everyone's neck.
Or just pull a book out of Reverse Flash and use his arms.
Because
vibrate through
arguably
people.
a gun is almost like a crutch for people who don't have super speed, because it makes the distance.
Right?
Yeah, so
I
Flash
mean-
doesn't really need it. He could just run up and stab people.
Yeah. I think it's just that it'd be cool. I think Deathstroke just likes swords. He's like, no, these are cool. You should have one of these.
Yeah, it's intimidating. Even if you don't use it, a dude running around with a sword, like... Come on.
Yeah.
Stay away from that guy.
I can see it.
So I did a quick count. Anyone like to guess how many editor's notes in the issue?
Baker's dozen.
12.
13.
10.
Oh,
Damn it.
closer.
That was closer.
And to be, I'm going to give it one credit is just the the translated from that you get in any of the issues.
Still, 9's a lot then, if you discount that.
Yeah.
It is.
9 is
It
a
is.
lot for one issue.
Yeah.
So,
Especially when it's not heavily continuity based. You know, like, I would expect that out of a Crisis. Because it's pulling little pieces from here and there, but
It's especially weird, like how we said, like this feels less dense, it's more digestible, it's easier to follow than it was before.
yeah, the editor's notes
Yeah.
almost make it feel... It almost makes it feel like it is more dense because of all these editor's notes, when it's not really.
And also just like that, I don't recall there ever being this many editor's notes before.
I mean, how many of these editor's notes do we actually need, though? Like, did you feel like when you got to the sword and it mentioned, oh, this was taken from the store
in a poker game?
in issue 9, or the poker game? Is like, did we need to know that here? Like, is it a big deal?
I feel unless they're referencing the poker game, you don't need it.
Yeah.
It's
No.
just
for
unless
example.
again, it's one of these things where unless this is going to come up soon, and they're just reminding people or like letting people know
yeah.
who didn't necessarily read those issues, who jumped on after Lazarus.
Yeah.
That's
I don't
fair.
know. Still a really good issue, though. I think.
Oh yeah, it was a solid issue. I can't make many complaints. But yeah, so a lot of things going on, a lot of things to pay off potentially whenever Priest is like getting to his end game, which could be a long time. I have no idea how long his run's going to be. But
Yeah, I have no idea, but he's set up so much that I hope he leaves himself enough time to do it all justice.
all right, so that actually wraps up all the books this week. So like I say, week 1 pretty quiet, only the 6. Brace yourself for a meaty one next week because we got metal issues and we got all sorts. But this week that is it. So we'll do our best stuff of the week, which we usually start with best panel of the week. I'm actually going to go first. I never usually go first,
Yeah.
but I am this week because to me it's just like an obvious pick. And it's the one that I mentioned a lot in Batman. It's when Riddler mentions killing Kite Man's son and gloating about it, and you can just see Batman in complete darkness behind him, and you can feel how that must make Batman feel. Like, it's all there, and it's just such a simple effect, but it's a sign of good storytelling that I just know I'm in his head in that panel. So I guess my pick. Matt.
So mine's also from Batman, which was a tough pick, but it's the Two-Face interaction where you have the two panels, where it's Harvey talking on the top and then Two-Face in the reflection. It's just handled super well, and it kind of builds this tension that's there.
Cool. Connor?
I'm picking the same panel as Peter, but for different reasons. For me, it's instead of being like with Batman, it's the way Riddler is depicted in that panel, where it's like the most like the Joker he's ever looked. This is it where, let's say, like Batman's in his head because he's like, okay, what have I done? Because this is it. He's pushed Riddler to be worse almost.
I like that we both picked that, but we both read completely different things from it, and they both work together, which just shows you how strong that panel is. So, there you go. So, best cover of the week.
It's tough.
Opening up my...
I can go first on, so I think it's pretty easy.
Go
on. I'm going to have to go with Green Arrow. I think it's just, it's real simple, but it's gorgeous.
Yeah, honestly, looking at them myself, I have to agree with Green Arrow. I mean, Batman's really good because it's a good Janin cover, but yeah, Green Arrow for me as well.
I think Green Arrow has the simplicity to it that it's got nothing to it, but
also,
it just works.
I like how they're basically... So, what it is, it's Oliver on his knee, like, pointing the arrow up, and there's like a beam of light, and it's the Green Lantern symbol that he's, underneath him at the end of the beam.
I didn't realize it was a Green Lantern symbol until right now, looking over the covers.
Oh, Matt, you silly sausage.
I am. I know.
But what I like about it is it's basically a play on the idea of, like, when, in movies, when they're abducted by aliens, you get this big harsh light on them. I like that it's kind of playing on that. It's a fun idea.
Yeah.
It's a real nice cover.
You picking that as well, Matt? Are you?
Yep, I am.
Yeah.
I can't. As much as I like the Superman cover, it's got way too much going on. Yeah. And I don't think it was done by, what's his name? Van Sciver, but it looks like a Van Sciver. So, but yeah, too much going on. It's definitely Green
Covers
Arrows.
Mankey.
Okay, that makes sense.
Sure. So best art then in general for the week. Connor, you can go first for that.
Batman.
Clayman on Batman. Cool.
Yeah.
Connor? Matt, rather?
That's the worst thing you could have done.
No, it was. I didn't mistake you for Connor. I just glitched and said Connor again. That's all it was.
Yeah, but it's
I mean,
Batman.
no disrespect. I'll send you a fruit basket.
There we go. Thank you. Pineapples and bananas. That's my jam. So.
Oh yeah.
Expect
whatever you want. I committed a cardinal sin there, so I need to make up for it.
Gotcha. But yeah, it's gotta be Batman. Deathstroke was close. I like the art in Deathstroke, but we talked about all the different panels throughout that Kite Man issue and how well it tells the story. So
yeah, it's amazing that Janin's not on it, and we're going to have a home run here of Batman as a pick. I mean, I was almost tempted to go Green Arrow because I do like the art in Green Arrow a lot this week, but Batman had several standout pages and panels and. It's amazing that someone can come in and do these 2 extra issues in between all these Janin ones and not feel like it's a step down.
Do you know, I feel it's really weird because I don't think I don't know if I've picked a Janin issue yet as best art because he's always been up against really good issues like Ferreira at his best or week 3 where it's just stacked with artists.
Yeah, Cedric on Aquaman that week and
you've got loads on that week. So it feels weird picking Batman for the first time in ages and suddenly it's not. Janin?
It's just
the way it's fallen, hasn't it?
Either that or it's a sign of just your inner workings and just...
But this is the thing, if this was a Janin issue this week, it would have won. If the last issue of Batman had been this week, I'd have picked it. It's just the way it's fallen with what he's been up against in the previous issues that now it just looks weird.
Well, with that said, top 5 time, which is interesting, we only have 6 books. But we're going to go to Matt for his top 5 first.
Oh man, so 1's gonna be Batman, 2 will be Green Arrow, 3 Deathstroke, 4 Nightwing, and 5 Green Lanterns, which leaves out Superman, and I feel dirty. But hey,
6 books. You have to leave off one, and he manages to leave off Superman. I'm
It didn't
shocked.
help that the art wasn't up to par with kind of the rest of them, and at least Green Lanterns had that, had the emotional impact more than I think Superman did.
Yeah, and more consistent art as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Connor.
Batman, Deathstroke, Green Arrow, Nightwing, Green Lanterns.
All right, Batman at number 1, Green Arrow at number 2, Green Lanterns. Deathstroke at number 3, Green Lanterns at number 4, Nightwing at number 5. So we all left off Superman, which isn't a surprise, I don't think. But there you go. So we had a unanimous pick, unsurprising, but that is what our picks of the week are. So I guess that leads me to tell you what's coming next week, and
I am in so much trouble next week.
This is the polar opposite of this week. So brace yourselves for the list that I'm about to give you. Coming next week, we have Dark Knight's Metal number 2. We also have a tie-in to Metal in the form of Teen Titans number 12, which is not its usual week, might I add. It's there because it's the start of the crossover.
I think from memory, the back of the checklist, the set list, so to speak, is that's actually before issue 2.
Okay, good to know.
Actually, I feel like it was the other way around. Because I think Metal introduces why the crossover happens. I could be wrong, but I feel like from memory that's what my understanding was of it.
See, because I remember thinking that, but then I looked at the set list.
Well, hold on, let me finish the list. You look it up and tell us at the end of the list. So Teen Titans number 12. Then we also have Action Comics 987. We have Batgirl and the Birds of Prey number 14. We have Detective Comics 964. We have The Flash number 30. We have Hal Jordan, the Green Lantern Corps number 28. We have New Superman number 15. We have Supergirl number 13. We have Superwoman number 14. We have Titans number 15. We have Wonder Woman number 30. We have Mr. Miracle number 2. Woofed. In terms of what we're not reading next week, which is also out, Suicide Squad number 25 is out, Just Leave America number 14 is out, and Red Hood and the Outlaws number 14 is also out, although give Connor a few months, and I'm sure he'll be reading that for Connor's Corner. So what was the verdict on that?
Teen Titans 12 is between Metal 1 and 2.
Alright, okay, fair enough, interesting.
Which makes sense because the whole point of this Titans issue is that Nightwing sends out a distress call, so if like a gigantic mountain just shows up in the middle of Gotham City, that's enough to necessitate it.
Is that the genesis of it? Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Did not know that. Cool. But yeah, so we got a main event issue and we got a tie-in crossover issue as well.
And also Oz Effect starts.
Oh, is that next week?
That's next week as well.
I was gonna get to that.
Okay.
I thought Lonely Place of Living was starting as well, and I got super hyped for this week.
But that's not. That's the one.
Oh, I'm sorry. So Metal Oz Effect is not enough for Matt this week, and Mr. Miracle number 2 as well, might I add.
Bro, Tim Drake, seeing what he's been up to.
Yeah, no,
Dude,
you're just hoping.
escaped.
You're just hoping it connects to someone else popping up that you've been dying for.
Yeah, and just let you guys know, if that turns up and there's no other that character, I'm gonna be unbearable that week. I'm just let you guys know.
Oh, right,
Heads up.
because you're not unbearable anyway.
No, I'm not. I
was going to crack that exact same joke, but Connor got in there first, so that's fine.
I'm a damn peach, thank you.
I was going to be like, so it's a normal week, Dad, is what you're saying.
Shut up, Pete. Connor's allowed.
Why is he allowed? He's the worst.
Because we take needed shots at him all the time. So he's allowed to fire a couple off. He's like the little brother that you just like when you hit him, you give him a free shot so they don't tell mom.
It's true, you do that, don't you?
Yeah. You beat him to shit, proper pummel with a plank of wood, and then you're like, alright, have one little smack just to feel better.
Don't tell mom. Shh. Shush. Having my brother here this week, we had my other cousin over, and we used to put them both, because they're the two youngest, through hell. And we were just reminiscing about the time my cousin got even with us by spraying us with Windex. Right in the eyes. So, yeah.
I am suddenly very glad that I am an only child. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
You missed out on having someone younger to beat up.
Yeah, but what if I was the younger one?
I don't care. I'm the oldest, so it was never my problem.
Yeah, exactly.
Wait, so
you know that episode of How I Met Your Mother where they talk about why Marshall never gets into fights?
Yeah.
and then it flashes back to
it's so
him and
real,
his
isn't it?
brothers. Yeah, it is. Oh man.
I don't know if it's better or worse that Connor's younger brothers will be more diluted versions of him. Is that better or worse?
I don't know.
Are they not as bad
I mean,
because they're more diluted, or are they worse because it's like even less humanity?
I feel like he's the Jason Todd. Like they just skipped having Dick Grayson, and then
I've never been more insulted in my life.
He's such the Jason
See?
Todd.
and this is why I will take crap back from Connor. So
Oh dear. All right. Well, that has been episode 68, I think, of Comics from the Multiverse, the DC Comics podcast. Let us know what you think of this week's books in the old comments below if you're on the YouTubes. You can also tweet at us at DC Comics Podcast if you want to get a hold of us. Also, individually, Matt, where can people find you on the Twitters?
find me at Matt of Steel 57.
Connor, where can people find you?
At Connor Ryan 94.
You can find me at Wibble89, and that is all that. If you want to support us, you want to support the podcast and get some bonus stuff, you can go over to patreon.com/MailFuzzTV. Before the next episode, we should have our monthly episode up that is exclusive to patrons. Me and Connor are going to be talking about Justice, the Alex Ross painted book, so that should be fun. There's also a lot of little bits and extras of non-DC stuff to go up from time to time as well, so there's reasons to be over there and have a look if you want to do that and help us out. But otherwise, that is us, so thank you once again for watching or listening. Keep reading DC Comics, and always remember, never get lost in the Speed Force.
I want Connor Kent to return so bad.